Crystal Davis. I am author of Azure Assurances and I live in Hobart, Tasmania. I'm a poet and this is my very first book that I've ever published.
And I'm Kylie Fogarty. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I live in Canberra and this is also my first book.
The title of the book is called Azure Assurances, a book of pictured poetry. It's actually really hard to say, so it's not an ideal title to talk about, but it absolutely is the right title for the book. It always was. I never had any doubt that that would be the book's title. It's the first line from one of my poems, Secure the Life, which is in the book, and that poem is the first one I sent to Kylie. For me, it's about, in my life, one of the most powerful things that ever happens is those days when the sky is cloudless and it is so blue. It is just so blue, that colour that you cannot compare with anything. It's that real azure depth where you don't know how far the sky goes. And for me, that's those moments in life where I feel most alive, where I feel most affirmed and assured that I'm here and I'm doing things. So that is why the title is what it is. This book is also about that. It's about taking that step to be alive and to share that life with other people and to collaborate. And so it's a very powerful title for me. And it's also, for me, in terms of mental health, I think the colour blue really has an often negative connotation. It's associated with depression and you've got the blues and all of that. And I think blue can be the exact opposite of that. It's one of the times that you can feel most connected with nature, most connected with life, and the colour that's hardest to replicate. It's very, very special to me. So the process of this book for me has been so interesting. It really has been an exercise in creative intuition and trust and all kinds of things that I never really knew existed before. The way it came about is I was going through a really difficult period caring for my sister who had mental illness at the time, and I had lost a relationship that was really important to me and went through a breakdown. And so to cope with that breakdown, I had to find a way to be creative, and so I picked up the pen, and for the first time in 15 years I started writing poetry and writing and writing and writing. And then one day I just woke up with this absolute knowledge that those poems were going to be a book and that I needed to publish that book, and that book had gorgeous black and white line drawings, and it was absolutely the most clear vision I've ever had. I knew this was happening. So I got up and I literally Googled Australian line drawing artists and I came across the amazing Kylie on Etsy. She got her shop in there and I knew that was her. It was as if she was in my brain. These were the pictures that were going in my book. So on this knowledge, I emailed her and told her what the book was about, and I emailed her a couple of the poems I had written, and I was very nervous. She was the first person that would ever read my work as an adult, so I sent them to her and here we are.
Here we are. So we didn't know each other at all. Basically, people think that we met somehow in our creative alliance before this, but this truly was the first time that we had that we'd been in touch with one another. So the way it worked basically was that I received the email from Crystal, and at first it was incredible to be told that someone has connected with your work is amazing, and then to be entrusted is such a humbling experience because particularly with something as personal as poetry, it is something truly special and you want to do it justice. So you say you were nervous, I was nervous too, because with my works it is a very organic process in that I don't preempt anything. It all comes from the place within, and the interpretation element, there was that fear that, oh my goodness, what if I completely miss the mark, and it just didn't happen. The whole process of reading those first two lines and going, could I do this? Will I do this? And then reading the first two lines and getting goosebumps and going, yeah, I can do this. This is going to be fantastic. Let's go with it. So we did. And yeah, it was almost this thing of, what do I do first? Which one do I do first? So yeah, so St Kilda's Life was the first one that we did. It didn't take much for me to engage with the poetry to allow those lines to flow and to show me what was meant to be on the piece of paper. The process for me interpreting the poetry was turning the poetry into a photo and placing it on my computer, so that every day when I opened up my computer I would read the poem and I would sit with that. And some of the poems I didn't need long to sit with them and to interpret it in my head with the imagery going around in my mind, and the artwork would just come. So that was great. Some of them took a few days of just of revisiting the poetry over and over again, and trying not to force it, just to allow it to evolve. It was really a fantastic experience to be involved with. I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
I'd like to share one of my poems with you. It's called If. It's one poem of the week with Oz Poetic Society, and I'll read it to you now. If I make myself little, will your love be less brittle? Will you snuggle me till I am tall? If I make myself tiny, will your love be less spiny? Is what I want in there at all? If I just dim my light, will it all be alright? Or will you just think you're so small? This poem on the surface is kind of obvious. It's about vulnerability, but it's also, when you look a little bit deeper, it's about, for me, it was about a period in my life where I felt really small, and because of that I was looking for someone to save me, and changing all these things about myself to try and make myself more appealing and help others to build me up. And at the end of that process I realised all that had happened is other people started believing my smallness the way that I did. So it's a really profound thing for me to have written, and it's also really special that collaboration doesn't have to be hard, creating doesn't have to be hard. It's learning to trust that intuition and go with it. And for me, never having shared my work with anyone, to email somebody, a complete stranger, and tell them I'm going to publish a book, which I've also never done before, that was so affirming and so powerful for me to know that that is possible. All of those things are possible without even having to try, because it really wasn't an effort to get in touch with Kylie. It wasn't an effort to work with Kylie. It was an effort to produce the book, and that was really important because it's a forging process. It means the book that comes out is exactly what it was supposed to be. But it genuinely has a life of its own and has had a really strong voice from the very beginning. And to know, to listen to that voice, and that that's possible for me, it's possible for anybody, I think was the most rewarding thing for me about you.
It truly was a place of me and my interpretation, and to have that acknowledged and accepted, and yet, you know, they are drawings, you know, they are what they are, they're black and white line drawings, and they do have a place in art in today's society where things are very complicated at times, and for them to be sitting aside such beautiful literature is just incredibly rewarding for me. It's just fabulous.
And now it's like two, I can't even imagine them being separate. They go so well together, you know, the simplicity and the depth of Kylie's artwork, and as well the simplicity and depth of poetry in general and of my work is just amazing, and together they make this new amazing entity that I can't imagine not existing now. What we hope is that you connect with the book the way that we do, and that you can feel what we felt when we were creating it, that real raw power of creation and collaboration. And even if it's one word or it's one sentence or one picture that makes you feel something and that you can connect with on your own level and through your own experience, that will be a success for us, and we really hope that you enjoy it.